Bourbon, Broncos, and No BS. Fans, brews, and Broncos news.
Hello again, Broncos country, and welcome to another episode of Bourbon, Broncos, and No BS, the flagship show here at Orange Weekly Broadcast Network. As always, I'm joined here by Spotty, David, and Ayla. We have a lot to talk about. Kansas City coming off of a Christmas Santa gift, beating Kansas City in Kansas City, and we have another big game coming up that decides whether or not we are the one seed or not the one seed going into the playoffs. So we have a lot to talk about here. First of all, going around the room, how's everybody doing? Let's start with you, Ayla. Ayla, how you doing today?
Oh, I'm fabulous.
And now we can't hear.
And we can't hear me at all.
I can hear her. Yeah. I don't know what's wrong with Jared. Everybody else can hear you. We're having end in the season.
Sometimes people just block me out on purpose, so I don't blame them for that.
Keep going.
I'm fabulous. Everything is going Bronctabulous.
Ooh.
Bronctabulous. Can we make that a word?
It's a word now. It's done.
It's a lot to say, yeah.
Jared, in continuance of your question, because I know you would toss it to me if you weren't figuring out some settings problems right now. Glad the holidays are over. We'll talk about the Chiefs' victory and whatever, and how it. We wanted it to be a little bit more like the the Patriots beating the Jets this weekend, but it just wasn't that kind of game. But whatever. You get out of there with another victory, a 13th victory, sweep the Chiefs, and you're on to play for the number one seed in the final week of the season. And that's just, what can you say about that, Spotty?
Well, it feels like I haven't actually been here in the last couple of weeks, so I have to say hello to my crew, hello to my people. What's up? It does feel fantastic. Of course, I'm going to say some things about the way that the Kansas City game went, but it doesn't matter. We're the AFC West champions. What can you add to that? Like, if you're the AFC West champions and it hasn't looked pretty, like, whatever, frig it. It does not matter at any point. Like, everybody can say what they want, but we still get to hang that banner for AFC West champions 2025. So I'm feeling good no matter what. And I think with this game that we got going on right now, I'm especially excited, mostly because I will be going to this game as well.
Yeah, that's awesome. Spotty, you're the only one I can hear, so I think there's a reason for that. And I I don't know how I'm gonna log off here in a minute. Before we go off there, I'm gonna kind of start this conversation off. AFC West champs is absolutely a huge thing for the Denver Broncos. Basically, since Super Bowl 50, we haven't been AFC West champs, and now we have a chance to beat the Chargers in order to become the number one in the AFC. And nobody saw us as the number one team in the AFC at the beginning of the season. Nobody saw us halfway through the season. Even though we've been the number one in the AFC for the past probably 5 or 6 weeks, nobody saw us finishing here. So it's absolutely a great time to be a Broncos fan. And it's going to be a lot of fun going into this game. So as you guys go around the room, I'm going to just, log off and log back into the old IT reset, and then I'll be back.
I think I hijacked it. That's what it was. It was the brand new, shiny, sparkly.
It is the shiny.
That's it. All right. Well, guys, so what are your let's talk a little bit about that Kansas City game in detail, because it was, it was what every Broncos fan didn't want to see, right? It was that, barring a loss, that's what you don't want to see first and foremost, and they didn't lose the game. So we've got that in our column at least. But it turned out to be another performance from the offense where you're just wondering if they're stuck in the mud and why. And what they brought against the Packers that they can't bring against teams on a day in, day out, week in, week out basis. And at a certain point, I have my feelings about that specific issue, but Ayla, I'm going to toss it over to you first. How are you feeling about that?
Well, I'm always interested about your feelings, David, because you always have you have good insight to say. I will give us, the credit where, what we're going to have this weekend is an unexpected turn of events when it comes to quarterbacks. So, I just think that we're building the momentum again, and I was okay with it almost feeling like a lackluster win. I'm okay with building it up again, and I think that's where we're going to shine, is that we've got more consistency with our entirety of our team. So I think spreading it around, and I think I think that's kind of thing that they're building on. I think our coach is kind of smart, and but yeah, that's where I'm at. What about you, Spotty?
I apologize. I'm going to go slightly a little bit of a rant right now.
Go for it.
I think there's a couple of things to the way that Thursday went, right? So at this point, we're sitting back and there are 16 weeks of film on Bo, and there's 16 different defenses that we've played over this time, 15 or whatever. So at this point, there are teams that are replicating what other teams are doing against our offense. And obviously what Kansas City and Jacksonville are doing right now is similar to the Green Bay Packers, even though we had a lot more success against the Green Bay Packers, but they are throwing different things at Bo in this zone coverage that he's hesitant on. I believe that these zone coverages are giving him a little more pause, and that's not what we want. It changes the mentality of Bo, where we want to see him just to throw the ball, fit it through those tight pockets. And I see, he's going to learn from it. He needs to see it for the next 3 weeks for him to get over it. And much just like the other thing I want to talk about is the fact that it was again a Thursday night game. We're seeing a quarterback we've never seen. He had 3 ridiculous things that I'm pretty sure would never happen ever again in another game. He dropped the freaking ball and picked up the ball and threw it downfield, right? These are things that we're never going to see, and we've never seen him. Every time you get a quarterback and you have zero tape on a quarterback, almost every single time the defenses struggle against guys like that because you don't know his tendencies, you don't really know his weaknesses. You're like, cool, let's just throw everything that we can against them, right? This particular game was not one where I thought the Kansas City was just doing incredible things. It's just that we weren't able to do the things that we wanted. All right. Mind you, even though Trent McDuffie was not in this game, the Kansas City Chiefs were still a top 5 defense in this NFL. Okay. So all these people are saying, oh, Pat Mahomes, this, all that. I'm great. Pat Mahomes didn't play freaking defense from them. And the reason that they won most of the games this year was because of that.
Well, they won most of the games last year for that reason, same reason too. So.
Yeah. Well, and Jared, I want to throw it to you because I want to ask you this question specifically about Bo Nix. And it sounds like your technical issues are resolved, so that's good. Good. Spotty had a point there, and we're going to have to talk about it, that Bo Nix is going to see more game plans tailored specifically to stop him in the playoffs than he's ever seen in the regular season, just because the teams prepare differently for playoff games than they do regular season games. They're going to get much more tailored defensive game plans for Bo Nix, and he's got to just start being ambitious with the football when they present him with those kind of things. How do you feel about that? Are you thinking that he's going to be able to whip that out in the playoffs like he did against the Packers, or are you worried that what we saw against the Chiefs is a sign that maybe he won't be able to get that extra gear?
No, I'm with Spotty on this one, and it's because and it's not all on Bo Nix, right? Anytime you're looking at a quarterback, you got to look at the coach too, whether it's the offensive coordinator or Sean Payton for us. You have to be able to look at the coach. Are we calling the right audibles? Are we calling the right 2 plays to be able to beat whatever they're showing us? And if they're showing us something different, then we should be able to adjust our game plan mid-game. And honestly, if you've seen the first half of the season, right, really all the way up to the Kansas City game and then the Jacksonville game, we've been able to adjust. Even in the Jacksonville game, we were able to adjust and start being a little bit more offensively productive. The problem for the Jacksonville game was that our defense wasn't able to adjust the same way our offense did to be able to do the things. But we've been doing it all year. I think he has the capability to do it. I think he's a smart quarterback, which is something that you want in this league. You don't want just an athletic quarterback. You want someone who's smart and athletic. And that's what he is. And that's what we've seen. So what I'd like to see a little bit more, and I think what the rest of Broncos country would like to see, and I'm just putting it in different terms, is that Bo Nix is going to step up and start doing that and be able to read that before we start the game, right? He knows what they're going to throw at us now. And just like Spotty said, we know what they're going to look at the Packers game. They're going to look at the Chiefs game. They're going to look at these games and say, how do we stop Bo Nix from throwing for 250 yards in one quarter, right? How do we do that? We do it by copying and pasting what they did. So if we know that they're going to do that, we need to start prepping for that. And I think that's exactly what their plan is, which makes it even more important to get that first round bye so we could have a little bit more time with Sean Payton and Bo Nix to be able to do that.
Yeah, I definitely agree with that. Guys, we love all the comments. We love all the questions. Keep them coming. Ayla, I want to throw this one back to you. The Denver Broncos defense has had kind of a couple of tough games before this Chiefs game. But really, outside of, the Chiefs had a good special teams play, and they also had a short field off a turnover. But outside of that, this Denver Broncos defense really kept them from moving the ball pretty well. You expect that out of a team starting their third string quarterback. But at the same time, like Spotty said, you have basically no film on this guy. And so, I thought that it's hard to say that the Denver Broncos defense had a real true bounce back performance in this game against the Chiefs, but at least on that side of the ball, you look at it and you say, outside of a couple of blips, that's how you want them to perform, right? In a game where on paper they should beat the pants off of somebody.
Well, and I'll just slingshot this back to you, David, because doesn't it seem like our defense needs to come back to being they kind of got down to a little D, and we need to get back to the big D.
Yeah, and it's
metaphorically speaking, it's just like they started off the season, they carried us the entirety of the way, and something fell off, a little bit of a wheel. But what do you think about that? Do you think they're like coming back together? How do you feel about that? Because I just felt like something's been a little bit off with it, and maybe they needed a break, maybe they were tired. I don't know. What do you think?
My diagnosis is that they are down to down.
Dr. David, give us your diagnosis.
Well, hold on. Wait a minute. Let me get my prop for this.
D. Oh my gosh.
Now I think that what we really need to look at is the big play. I think on a down-to-down basis, guys, it feels like they are pretty consistent with the defense that we saw earlier in the season. It just feels like, to me, they're giving up more big plays down the field than they were. And maybe it's just that they've had to rotate players in and out of coverage, and they're just not entirely sure of the responsibilities as they were, not as solid on that kind of thing on the back end there. It feels like the pass rush is as effective as ever and gets there fairly quickly on a lot of downs. Maybe they're not having as much ability to convert to sacks. Maybe they just need that extra half second that they were getting earlier in the season that they're not getting from the backfield now. Jared, what do you think? Am I off base or am I onto something?
Yeah, no. So I got two things here, and one of them is the only personnel difference in our defense is Brandon Jones. And I didn't think he played that big of a role in the defense until you watch those games, and you're like, holy crap! Like, he's actually a big difference in this. But the other one too is I've noticed, and I think we've mentioned it as we're watching the game, we're getting pressure sometimes, and we're again spoiled with having the most sacks in the league for the whole season. But it seems like we're not getting pressure when we need it, and on those big play downs, on those third downs where we used to be able to get that pressure to the quarterback like right away, we're not getting it anymore. Our 4-man rush is just not doing the job anymore. And I think that for me is the most concerning is why is our 4-man not getting the pressure we need on the bigger plays, in the third and medium, third and longs?
I think there's a couple things to it, right? So don't get me wrong, there's a reason PJ Locke is not the starting safety for this team this year, as he was, and we thought he was going to be at one point, right? PJ Locke was playing out of his mind. PJ Locke at this point is a liability for us, and we can't have that for a team that's needing to move on. And we have Super Bowl aspirations right now. And then the other thing, and of course, you guys have probably already talked about this over the week, just as a reminder that what offenses have decided to do is leave Pat Surtain out on an island all by himself.
Yes.
Not throw it Pat, and then they have these quick out and in routes, and they're trying to put the ball in the hands of their yak guy, right? For Jacksonville, that was Parker Washington.
Mhm.
For the Chiefs, the Chiefs have got a little bit of everybody, so they're doing a little bit of everything. So we have to be prepared for that to be the thing that everybody's going to go off now on to do, right? It's a good chance that Quentin Johnson is probably not going to be followed by Pat Surtain. They're going to try to get him on the other side and get him open and get him to do a lot of his zig and zag, so to get them the yards that they need. The other thing is, I don't know why, but I feel like our tackling has just been missed. The tackling for the team, of course, for 14 weeks was probably the best. We probably had the least amount of tackles missed in all of the NFL, and then all of a sudden we can't take anybody down to the field. So that's something that it can be improved on, right? It's not like penalties. It's not like we're like, hey, this is how you stop getting all these penalties. No, like this is how you get back to the basics on tackling, and that's probably the nice thing when we're having this conversation.
Yeah, and there's a comment down there talking about VJ, and I'm not ready to blame VJ on any of this. I don't think Vance Joseph is the guy. I mean, he's gotten us to this point, and I think we have when we entered this season, we had a bunch. I mean, let's talk about last season. When we entered last season, everybody was saying like this defense is so good, but there's outside of Pat Surtain, there's no names on it. And now you have a bunch of guys that are household names in a lot of households that aren't Broncos fans, and it's because of what VJ has done with this defense and using the guys in the right spot. I just don't think we have with the absence of Brandon Jones, PJ Locke stepping in there. You think he's a liability? I agree. I think there's certain things that he's just either not focused on or he's not in the right spot. And it's you could tell that he's hasn't been the starter the entire season. And you would expect that for like one game, but it's more than one game now. And now it's like, okay, man, like what do we need to do to either like if you're slower a step than we think you are, then we need to put you in a better position, which is BJ's job. Or we need to switch up the play call on defense to make sure that we're not putting you in a liable situation. We need to put you in a position that makes you the best and maybe pull somebody out, maybe have Jedi Barron drop back into a safety position a little bit more than Locke was. But yeah, we'll see how that turns out. But overall, I think the defense is not in a bad position.
This is the NFL, man. In the NFL, they are always constantly evolving. They're constantly evolving, right? If we weren't evolving, I think what they always say, right? Defense has the upper hand, and earlier in the year, and then later in the year, offenses figure their shit out, and then things are going to happen, right? Like we dominated the first part of the year, and now we are, we're still a good defense. We may not be necessarily elite because we're hurt, but we're doing a lot of things that other defenses still can't do.
Yeah. Well, and I will say before I take this over to you, David, if you watch everybody's game of the year the other night with the Bears and the 49ers, which by the way was an amazing game, crazy game, but there was not an ounce of defense played in that game. There was not an ounce of defense played in that game.
And so here's what I'm thinking. I would be fascinated to know what kind of effect the shuffling of inside linebackers has had on the communication aspects of the defense. We all know that inside linebacker is the green dot player for this defense, and that means they get the play call from the coordinator. And so we've had Greenlaw shuffling in and out there. We've had Strnad shuffling in and out there. We had, of course, Singleton with that very public, high-profile injury that he had to sit out for a couple of games. So I don't have, there's nothing concrete that's making me say, oh yeah, that's a clear cause of issues. I just wonder, I wonder how much of a problem that has had in getting everybody up to speed and getting everybody on the same page in that defensive backfield.
Yeah. And I also do want to say, and I think, Spotty, you mentioned this, is like, I think the total yards at the end of the game, I think they had like 190 total yards. Like, all of their scores specifically on the offense were off of short, like between the special team, the big special teams play, and then the turnover, which was in our own zone. Like, yeah, those two scores. Outside of that, the defense did exactly what they needed to do against this quarterback. And for the most part, I think they only had like 190 total yards. Something like that. It was like something ridiculous. We had like over almost 300 total yards. They had 190, and we were tied. It was like we were down. It was like remember looking at that stat, like what is happening? Like why is this happening to us right now? Obviously, we came away with the win, so I'm not mad. But there is some things that to be said about turnovers, and Bo's been usually pretty good with that. And that was not his fault. The interception was absolutely not his fault, except he probably could have thrown it out a half second earlier to get the completion as opposed to a tip. But the actual interception portion of it was not his fault. So. Yeah, there is something to be said about that.
We're going to talk about drop balls now too.
Oh no!
If Dan's listening out there, we should be talking about drop balls in this game.
I love it for those of you guys that are watching. Kev's running the behind the scenes today, so the four of us could get on and talk about what we thought. I'm kind of glad he's running behind the scenes because I'd imagine that he has some sort of pedestal moment, a double pedestal. He needs two of them to get up there and say what he needs to say about dropped balls and the Denver Broncos leading in drop balls. I don't know how they look at that like category. Secondly, I don't know how they look at the category. Like, there's some stat guy out there be like, yep, that ball's a dropped ball. Like when there's clearly like 6 different hands in the air, you know what I mean? Like, it touched his fingers, but there was like 4 other hands there. It's like, oh, drop ball. Like, I don't know how they count that.
Well, and just like full disclosure,
to remind you guys, it is NFL football.
Oh my god!
Yeah, right. Fair. Well, and in full disclosure, guys, I only watched like the final 5 minutes of this game. I was just doing other stuff on Christmas. I know. I know. I know. Look, Mr. Friends and Family over here. I understand. But so you guys are going to have to tell me and lead this conversation because we've talked about dropped balls for Bo Nix over the last few weeks, and we've had quite an internal debate over whether this dropped ball was on the receiver or whether Bo needs to throw a better ball to get that receiver in a better position to catch it. Where do you guys land in this game as far as the balls that were quote unquote drops? Spotty, you first. You clearly have the strongest reaction right now.
Okay, look, because just so everybody knows, and we had a conversation about this, and as soon as we told Dan that Bo needs to throw a better ball, Court dropped a freaking easy one. Okay,
he did.
It was almost like he was ready to call it. Okay?
Yeah,
and it's a two-way street, right? Like the whole thing that everybody is so up on Drake May about right now is the fact that he's number 1 in the NFL and catchable balls. Okay, and okay, cool, that's great, and he also has the highest completion percentage. All that. I think that Drake May is the best quarterback in the league? Absolutely not. And I'm gonna go ahead and tell you, okay, but that's all about scheme. It's all about certain things like that, and also it's about playing some of the worst defenses in the NFL. But neither here nor there. Courtland Sutton is someone that we know who's a very impactful wide receiver, but all at the same time, he's very known for dropping the easy ones. He will make some of the most spectacular plays you've ever seen in your whole entire life, and then drop a ball that was thrown 5 yards away from him. So column A and column B, we're looking for the progression of Bo Nix to throw catchable balls. And we know he has the capability. I think that's the issue about it.
Yeah.
And when he was at the University of Oregon, he was number 1 in college football in completion percentage. So if you can do that there, why not do it here?
Yeah, I think there's a level of like Bo Nix getting used to we say this. He's in the end of his second year, and he's still kind of getting used to the scheming and whatever. But yeah, there are times. I mean, there was a ball to RJ Harvey on a slant. I don't know if it was this game or the week before, but it just in his hands drops. Like, yeah, and yes, there are drop balls. I don't think that we should lead the league in drop balls. If you ever watched the Jacksonville game, like they drop balls all the time. I don't think that's the issue here. I think there are a lot of times that like. Was it catchable? Yes. Would it had to have been a crazy miraculous catch? Yeah, that also. And you've also seen the flip side of that coin where he throws up this crazy miraculous throw and our guys come down with it. And you're like, oh my gosh, that was a great throw. It wasn't a great throw. It was a great catch. And we got to kind of find the medium ground here. And we got to I love the idea of taking the risk. I love the idea of having him go up for it and come down with it. But if he doesn't come back down with it, we can't just be like, he threw a fine ball. Like that. I mean, he was kind of grasping the straws on that one. And we have to be okay if the wide receivers don't come down with it. Because the other thing that I don't want to happen is we go into the offseason, and I know this isn't what we're talking about here, but as we go into the offseason, everyone's like, we need to draft a wide receiver because our wide receivers suck. The hell they do. I don't think that our wide receivers are the problem at all. I think that we need to get them the ball a little bit cleaner.
Well, all I have to say is with a young quarterback, his balls might be dropping. Sometimes.
Well, I mean, at this point, he's not so young. He's like 25. If they haven't dropped by now, I don't know.
Yeah, but in the NFL, he's only 2. So
he's just a baby.
You know.
Yeah.
But it is with it. It's just with him and the receivers, and we have seen Courtland Sutton, one of the best we've ever seen. The NFL has ever seen. Courtland Sutton, hands down, is literally one of the best receivers ever. And so what is the issue there? They just have to figure it out between the two of them, or, you know, maybe it's, I don't know, but it's going to happen. It's just figuring it out at the times between it. So all jokes aside, all puns aside, everything.
Yeah.
I think it's literally just football happening in front of our eyes. But we just saw somebody comment like, "We are fine. We are fine. We are fine." And the guys are, you know, they're getting on to it. And, you know, year 2 for a quarterback, I feel like he feels more seasoned than that. Like, I thought his composure and everything, and they've all come together a little bit more at the beginning of the season. I was worried about it, but I think we're fine. Yeah.
6-7. Sorry.
So the other thing. Oh my gosh. The other thing I want to say too on this. I'm complete. Yeah. Thank you, Kev. I appreciate that. That was great timing. So the other thing I want to mention on this here is,
I don't have any apologies to make.
Is Bo? Yes, he's composed and he's doing a good job of escaping pressure and extending plays. But in this NFL, in this world, that's going not to be the case all the time where he's going to be able to make those plays. He needs to be able to do it in the system. And sometimes he's making decisions at just the wrong last second. What you saw in that interception to little Jordan Humphrey was that if he would have got that ball out a half a second earlier, that's a completion for a first down on a third down. But he kind of hesitated before he threw the ball. That ball gets there a little late, gets tipped and intercepted. Again, not that I don't put that interception on Bo in any way, shape, or form. That should have just been a pass breakup. But if he would have made that decision like a half second early, and those are the little things that I think that he's looking at. And it's not just like, I'm not saying like he needs to do a better job of it. I think what he's doing is he's looking at the film and being like, man, I had that guy. Right. So now in the system, I now know my routes. And I know when this guy's, you know, cheating a little bit to the inside, I can hit that a little bit quicker and I'll be able to get the first down. And that's the kind of things that I like about Bo Nix, is that he reads that stuff, he studies that stuff, and he comes back to the playing field, and then he makes throws, and we have wide open wide receivers. And everyone's like, how'd they let him get that wide open? Well, it's because Bo Nix read it, right? He read the system and he read it open. So again, I'm not saying that there's any problems here. I think that that he absolutely just needs to kind of be a little bit more decisive. We saw that in the Packers game. His decisiveness and his ability to find the open receiver was on point. We just need that to come back a little bit more. And to Spotty's point, it's going to be different defense to defense. It's going to be different week to week. We just need to be able to have him come back and be a little bit more consistent with that.
Now, one last note on this game before we make our transition into halftime and then our Week 18 discussion, guys. It's impossible to believe, right? It's Week 18 already. But we got out of this game without any major injuries. And that wasn't true in the Jaguars game. We had a couple of players hurt in that game. And, you know, going into a short week at this point in the season, you're always a little bit worried about how that's going to go as far as health. And it looks like we were able to avoid any major catastrophes on that front. So fingers crossed. So we're in good shape there. All right, guys. It is halftime here at Bourbon Broncos and No BS, and that means it is time to plug our pluggables. You know it. Guys, we have so much content coming for you each and every single day. It starts with the week on the pregame podcast on iTunes, Google Play, Stitcher, anywhere you get podcasts. Jared, Spotty, and I like to break down the opposing team a little bit more in depth than we do here on the Bourbon Broncos and No BS show. So if you're looking for a real preview of what's going on each week, make sure you tune in for that. Then we've got the tailgate talk an hour before kickoff every week. I believe the Broncos kick off at 2:25 against the Chargers this week, so we'll be starting at just a few minutes before 1:30 this week, and so we'll catch us there. You'll get a chance to win a jersey, of course, with our weekly score prediction challenge. We haven't given one away yet. We gave away 3 Bo Nix jerseys this year because it is our 10th year anniversary at Orange Weekly, of course, but we have never given away a score prediction challenge jersey, and we've gotten close a couple of times, guys, so this is your last chance to do it in the regular season. Halftime Hash comes after that, of course. During halftime, we were the original live halftime show, and then, of course, we've got the post-game podcast every week. That's at 8 p.m. Mountain Time on Monday. It's fine, guys, but honestly, the pregame podcast is where you're at. And so we will have a post-game podcast live for you on Monday this week. And then, of course, your flagship Bourbon Broncos and No BS show every single Tuesday. Now, make sure you guys are following us on Google. Not on Google. Well, Google owns YouTube, but that's a whole other can of worms. Make sure you like, subscribe, rate us on YouTube, guys, because that helps us with the dreaded algorithm so much. And wherever you're watching us tonight, thank you. Last thing, guys, go to bourbonandbroncos.com. We've got a ton of articles going up there, a bunch of content. You can get in now at a much better price than you'll be able to pay next year when we are going to start charging for memberships, guys. It's coming. You're going to have to pay for our delicious Broncos content. Not all of it, but some of it. Jared, Spotty, Ayla, now that halftime is complete, I want to talk to you about the Los Angeles Chargers. And at this point, guys, I don't know, the headline of the day might be that the Denver Broncos are once again wearing those delightful throwback uniforms that we are all representing tonight in style. And Jared, I can see that annoys you the most, so I'm going to toss it over to you first. What are your takes about these throwback uniforms? Are they the best in the NFL? Go.
I am frustrated that is what you're taking away and starting the conversation
Answer the question.
with everything that's going on with this game and the importance and the possibility of us playing backups and all the other things.
Important.
Your take is on the uniforms.
Okay, what I'm hearing is that you wish that you hadn't had technical issues earlier, because if you hadn't, then you'd still be steering the show.
I'd be still leading the show. Yeah, you took over from me and you never gave it back. We're supposed to have it. That's behind the scenes stuff. We'll argue about this in the backstage.
Mm-hmm, okay, that's right. Now answer the question.
Love the throwbacks. I don't know what to tell you. I do love the throwbacks, although I think they look better with the new colors. Ayla, your choice. How do you feel about these delicious throwback uniforms? Nope, David's done. He's done talking.
All right. Well, bye, Dr. D. I love it. Give me that big D energy. Yes. It seems like everybody is into it. They make the fans feel good. We're nostalgic, even if you weren't even born in that era, David.
I'm 36. I'm old enough.
We're all old enough. We're all around the same age.
Oh, don't lump me in with you old guys.
I'm 72.
Speaking of being old,
I get to look at the brown uniforms.
Speaking of old, I'm glad that Kevin told me what this means. The blank comments mean somebody that gave us stars, and that was Michael. Thank you very much, Michael. Appreciate you. Long time watcher, and we appreciate you as always for coming, commenting every week, and then backing it up with a little, okay.
Love it.
Big star energy, big D energy, big star
D
energy. Thank you, Michael. No, I think our fans like it. This is it's the last real home game. The rest of them are playoffs. Even though we're playing at home, it still feels different. But I think that's a fun thing to throw into it. And I don't think, I doubt the players even really care, but the fans do. The fans do. And there's something that plays into everything that comes into this season and our whole empire of what we've built. So I think it's cool. Spotty. Bring on the deep.
There it is. Spotty, is this the first time that you've seen them in person? You're going to the game, you said.
Yeah.
No, it's just like the other one.
This will be the first time I've seen the old school in person.
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah. That's what I meant. Okay.
I'm excited. Oh, you talking about the game?
No, right. Yeah. Have you ever been to a Broncos game?
I just, for the record, I also want to point out, because for those of you that are watching, Spotty's the reason we lost the Jacksonville game. But we can have a conversation about that another day. hopefully it doesn't play out the same way on Sunday.
Oh, Jared's just ready to throw
Ready.
throw strays
Ready.
out
You
there.
started with uniforms. We're going.
And then move on.
Okay. On that one, actually, I'm changing up the outfit, the fit. As Des would say, for the Broncos game, you gotta change the energy a little bit. Maybe I hang out with Kev a little more and tailgating instead of wandering around. So
Make sure to wash your underwear.
That's it. I'm not even gonna do it in the dryer. I'm a hand dry and wash
Hand
it.
dry. There you go.
Hand dry.
Yeah. A real quick comment I want to make. There was some that somebody wrote earlier on, and it was with the cutting of Trayvon Diggs from the Cowboys, and if the Broncos should sign him. And my answer is absolutely not. Absolutely not. Absolutely not. And if anybody who knows anything about me, I read he got defensive player of the year one year, leading the league in interceptions, but also leading the league in yards and receptions and yards per catch. Literally, if you guys think you have a problem with Riley Moss right now, pulling your hair out if that man was on our team.
Yeah.
And that being said, super excited for this game, though. Have we not mentioned the fact that Herbert's not going to play?
Well, that's it. I'm throwing it over to Ayla first to make sure that Jared, and then to Spotty, so that Jared gets to comment on it last. So that we have to make him.
It's not Trey Lance season. Everybody can take a back seat with that. And
so Ayla, did you want to see Justin Herbert in this game? Did you want to see the Broncos go against the best that the Chargers have to offer? Or are you like, yeah, let's get that number 1 seed. Let's go.
Well, you know what? I don't know what it is anymore because, as we said, we're playing NFL football. So it's more than the quarterback. And as much as people want to be like, oh, Justin Sherbert or whatever his name is taking a back seat. Trey Lance is not a terrible quarterback, so we have to be ready for that. And Harbaugh has a team to play against us, and it's like, it's not like they're gonna come to our field to lose. So anybody who's like, oh, we're shoo-in to win this game, they're sorely mistaken. They're still gonna show up to play. So I really hate that aspect of it, of when people are like, oh, we're just going to be given the number 1 seed. No, they want to beat us. He has a scheme in play. He is a great coach. He has a decent backup quarterback in Trey Lance. It's going to happen. It's going to be a good football game regardless. So anybody thinking this is a shoo-in, just buckle your seatbelts and cheer as loud as you can. Not when we're calling our plays, but every other time, cheer as loud as you can. And it'll be a dogfight no matter what. I don't think it'll be a shoo-in. I hate that mentality of it. Everybody knows I don't do pre-game anything because I have a hard time of Sherbert, Justin Sherbert. It's an old joke, but
to your point, Ayla, and I'll throw this over to you, Spotty. The point spread right now is 12.5, and I hate that.
12.
I'm not only do I hate it, I am seriously considering putting at least a little money on the Chargers. Does that make me a traitor?
No.
Yes.
Okay, I got 2 different answers there, so I'm going with the answer I wanted to hear. Spotty, go ahead.
Well, the game opened as a 3.5 and then jumped to 7.5. And today it jumped to an 11.5. And that usually means Vegas knows something that the rest of us don't, right? But of course, what we already know as a Denver Broncos fan is that we win games by 1 score. So
what happens?
11.5 is 2, everybody. Just so you know. Doesn't make you a traitor, just makes you smart as hell. Okay. So
and I think
math is hard. Jared, do you have the abacus?
I'm not in Colorado, or I'm not in San Diego right now. I got nothing. Let's see if I can find
I would think that all this time that you spent not talking on mic would have given you plenty of time to go find it. Anyway, he's got a calculator. But so it's just and Spotty, to your point again, I think Coach Harbaugh maybe the point spread was affected by an announcement, Coach Harbaugh not only saying that Herbert was going to sit, but that they were planning on sitting quite a few of their other players who had various, even small injuries. They were probably going to sit down quite a few players and try to get them as healed up for the playoffs as they can. So I would anticipate the Chargers missing 4 to 5 starters at the very least on both sides of the ball.
David, do you think this is an insult to our team?
No.
Well, Jared, I want to have Jared answer that. Jared, are you insulted by as insulted by the absence of Chargers starters as you are by the fact that you had to sit out of the conversation for as long as you did just now? Go ahead.
Absolutely not. I'm not insulted in any way, shape, or form that the Chargers want to do whatever they want to do, because give me that first seed, baby. I'll take it all day. I don't even care. They could go out there and they could throw out the replay. You could go to the stands and get whoever they want. We could whoop up on them. I don't care. I don't care what they do. Give me the first seed, right? If that's how we're gonna win it, and I'll let all the talking heads on the national stage. I'll let all the other teams that are like they got in because of blah blah blah. The same thing they said last year when we beat Kansas City. It's gonna be the same conversation that they did last year when we beat Kansas City, and they're gonna be like, they only got in. This is stupid. They only got in because they rushed their starters. And I'm gonna be sitting here like, suck it while you play next week, or go to Cancun and golf, because guess what? We got a bye week, and I don't care about anything else. All we need to do is win, and I'm with you, Ayla, though. I don't think this means it's a win automatically, but if I don't feel insulted in any way, shape, or form if they want to try to rest their guys, because if we were in the position, I would want our guys to do the same thing.
They would everybody would.
Yeah, I've been giving Jared a lot of shit tonight, and it's mostly because it's really funny. But I'm like, he's on it. Like, he's on it with this take. I am so 100% with him right now. Let's go. Yeah, no, and Ken's completely right here. Lance is a little bit of a wild card. He's never figured out how to make himself into an NFL. He's a lot like Anthony Richardson, in that he can do some electric things with his legs and with his arms. But he just never really figured out how to put that all into an NFL quarterback. But that doesn't really matter in a one-game scenario, right? When you're this defense, it's not a question of, well, Trey Lance can't be a starter for an NFL team over one season. It's, man, can he hit that 25-yard corner route to Quentin Johnson? And he probably can on a given like a down-to-down basis. So. Yeah, Ayla, you said it first, Jared. You all said it to varying degrees. This is not a walkover team just because they are resting starters. The Broncos have to make sure that they are ready in this game.
And stay tuned to the pregame podcast as we get ready to record, probably on Thursday or Friday. We'll still decide that, because we'll have a lot more idea of who is not going to be sitting, because that's going to be another piece. Like, obviously, we know Herbert's probably going to be out because of the hand thing, but they got some beat-up offensive linemen. They got some beat-up defensive linemen. If they are sitting a couple of their offensive linemen, who's already not great, and again, it's Herbert getting the ball out quick. If they're sitting a couple of those offensive linemen, there's going to be some trouble for Lance. And I think a lot of it is his ability. He has to get the ball out quick, or else he's going to be running for his life, and we're going to have to be able to spy for him. So if they're sitting out a couple of offensive linemen, then I'm looking at the 11-point spread, the 12-point spread. But in all honesty, if it's just the quarterback, I'm still worried about the Chargers.
I'll tell you what, like, I watched some of that Texans film last week, the Chargers versus Texans, and Spotty, it was like, even with the starting offensive line that they currently have, it was distressing. Like, I watched one rep where, the right tackle and the right guard both lose their rep at the exact same time to the defensive linemen who are using the exact same move against them in a synchronous. It looks like a drill. It looks like a drill, and so, like, it was the most upsetting thing that I think as a Charger, and it's just been happening all year. So if they are not going to be playing their starting offensive line, and we see the Denver Broncos roll out their defensive starters, we could. I mean, we're talking about not a rollover scenario, but the inverse of that is we could be seeing the Denver Broncos sitting down some of their starting players by halftime as well.
I'm pretty sure more than anything, the reason they sat Herbert was because they watched the Texans play against.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
I thought that Herbert was going to end up leaving that game. I think after the second sack, he was holding his non-throwing arm. He was walking off the field. So If you take the 32nd ranked offensive line and you're going to put your starting quarterback behind there, what does it matter? What does the 6, 5, 6, or 7 seed matter? What truly matters is being healthy and going into the playoffs. And of course, what that matters for us is a bye week means that we're that much healthier as well. I mean, I don't know how how many players right now do feel like that we can get back in the next couple of weeks potentially, just by sitting out. And Brandon Jones may not be the first game, but he potentially could be back for the next game after that.
Well, if you're talking the next game after that, you're talking the AFC Championship. Yeah. And at that point, you may even be talking
AFC Championship, guys.
and at that point, you're talking maybe even J.K. Dobbins coming back too. Ken's right about this. This is a dangerous game. But Ayla, I think that there is no chance. I mean, you're in a good position if you're the Broncos from this aspect. There's no way for them to overlook it. There's no way for them to overlook this game because there's nothing after this game. And we've heard Sean Payton talk too many times about wanting the number 1 seed. We've heard the team. We heard the team this week in their media availability say, the AFC West crown we weren't told that was important. The coaching staff didn't pass down that message that the AFC West title is important this year. Once they got into the position where they were really in discussion for the number 1 seed, that became the goal. And so I think that, Ayla, I think that we're in a really good position this week in that no matter who the Chargers put out on the field, the Broncos are not going to overlook this opponent.
Well, and I think you just said it. Sean Payton is in charge.
Yeah.
And we are going from top to bottom. And he has a goal. And the goal, we didn't even get to celebrate our AFC West championship. Nobody has a hat. Nobody has a hat. Nobody has anything. It's going to be sold on eBay for, whatever. It doesn't matter. That doesn't even matter. Nobody even got to do that because it doesn't matter. What really matters is winning the Super Bowl this year. And I think our coach wants it. I think he is the captain of our ship and he's going to lead us to the ship. Like this is going to, we're on a 10-year anniversary here with your show, with the Broncos. I think it's poetic. I think everything is leading up to, we just have to, even if it's by a field goal, it won't even, that's the whole thing, but he is it. And I know we have a young quarterback, but we have an entirety of a team. Dan always mentions that you guys do depth to the team. We're resting up now. We stumbled a little bit with we had a hiccup. We got to learn. And then we're gonna bang.
It's so
into
interesting.
This off season.
It's so interesting to talk about our 3rd loss of the season as the hiccup, as the stumble, right?
The 3rd loss after. I wasn't even here with you, but you know exactly what you're talking about.
Yeah.
And they were barely losses, and people, it's But this is it now.
Yeah.
So beat the Chargers on Sunday, and I'm sorry it's not a primetime game. I kind of don't even give a flying drink. I don't give a flying drink about that. Let it not be a prime day. Good. Let it not be a primetime game because the rest of them are primetime games.
There you go.
Playoffs are primetime.
The fastest way between 2 points is a straight line. The easiest way to the Super Bowl is at home.
That's it.
It's in Denver.
At home.
And if we can win this game, we have 2 games. That includes the obviously the divisional round and the AFC Championship will be in Denver, and that means more to the team. That means more to the players. That means more to the ownership. That means everything to Broncos country to have both those games at home and make them come to our field, make them come to the Mile High and beat us here in order to get to the Super Bowl.
Come home.
So that's how important this is. And I think that's what Sean Payton was getting at. Go ahead, buddy.
Hopefully there'll be some weather too, because you forget, right? Most of the teams outside of Buffalo who have the potential to come here are come from warm weather places. I mean, Texans play in a dome. The Jags play outside in 80-degree weather all the time. The Chargers are playing in the dome. Who cares about whatever the Ravens and Steelers are doing? Not really worried about those particular teams, but outside of the Patriots, in which that'd be AFC Championship game. But again, there's a couple of things that come into play when you play at home. How loud we are, the altitude, potential of cold weather games, and there's nothing better than that. And I mean, what are the odds for most people who are playing at home, anyways? Right, home teams usually take like 75% of the wins, anyways.
Yep.
Like that, I don't know. Yeah, and it's the most crucial thing in these playoffs, and it's been harped on time and again, and it's been harped on for a reason. And the Broncos do have that home field advantage of the altitude, like you mentioned, but we've seen this crowd come alive in the past few weeks in a way that they just haven't had reason to cheer the way they have in quite some time, and they are going to show up during the playoffs. It's going to be a thing, and you hope that the defense is a little bit more ready than they were against the Chargers when the crowd was so loud that the defense couldn't pass out their signals. But it's going to be an electric atmosphere, and if you can keep the playoffs in your building until
10 years of build up for anything.
Yeah.
After you've won the Super Bowl.
Yeah.
And we're like getting there again.
And you're used to being
and it feels like so slow, but like so fast. Like, yeah. And
you're
we
used to
have
being
such
a premier
fan
franchise.
base. We've always had, and everything in Denver right now is electric.
Yeah.
Let it be electric.
Yeah. And you feel like as a Broncos fan, this is the level of competition you expect. Yeah. But you guys, you think of the Broncos as a team that historically has just been in the playoff conversation every single year, right? Every single year they are the team. They are a team you expect to be in it, and it just hasn't been that way for a decade. Ken, this is a really good question. Best chance to win a playoff game? Bring that back up, Kev. With Pittsburgh, if that's where the conversation is starting or ending. Because we would never go to Pittsburgh. I don't believe there's any chance we would ever go to Pittsburgh just because of even if we lost this game.
They play the Dolphins this weekend.
Well, but even if so, even
the playoffs, we would never.
Right, even if the Steelers won the AFC North, which I think they have to play the Ravens for it to even win it. But even if they win it, they would be at home. That's the team. That's the matchup I want. First, last, and all the time. Give me Pittsburgh. I want to put Aaron. I mean, and now I know I say this. They actually have an offensive game plan that is really, really focused on quick passes that would do, I think, a lot of work in neutralizing our pass rush. But I can't escape the feeling that would just be belt to ass. Spotty, you go next. What are you thinking?
Well, Kev brought up the other comment too about which of the particular teams even scare me the most, and I'll kind of go at both, right? So the teams that I want to see, everybody says no, they don't want to see Buffalo. I'd rather see Buffalo. That's a team that if you stop the run game and Josh Allen has to play hero ball, that's never going to work out for them. I still think, even though we beat them already this year, I think that the hottest team is the Texans, and mostly because unlike our defense, they've actually turned it up through the rest of the year, and they look absolutely terrifying. Now, I still think they're beatable, but it's a team that I don't really want to see. But if we get them at home, that's a different story.
It was, that Texans game, and then we'll throw it over to you, Jared. I go back and I think about it, and it really was, that defense is as advertised, right? And it just became about Bo Nix making a couple of plays when they and connecting on those plays. That was it. And so I agree with Ken. I'm with you and Spotty. The Texans. That's a defense where if you do those 50-50 plays that Bo Nix made against the Texans defense in the regular season, they're still 50-50 plays, and if you don't get them next time, there's no guarantee at all that you win that game. Jared, how you feeling, buddy? You seem a little seasick. You're making us a little seasick.
Yeah,
I know you're a Navy man.
Yeah, I can only hear you again. I think it just hates David. My mic hates David. And I'm okay with not being able to hear him. If you could just toss me over whatever question it was, because we're getting ready to finish it up.
What? Give us the takes of what team you want to see and which one you don't want to see.
Yeah, so I mean, I'm with you, Spotty. I think Texans are the team I don't want to see, only because that pass rush and that defense is absolutely terrifying in every way, shape, or form. I do want to see Jacksonville again. I think that we just didn't come into that game plan well enough. I don't think we were ready for it, and I think that if we had time, if we do get the number 1 seed and for some reason we get Jacksonville again, I would kind of like that matchup in Denver again, only because I think we have a little bit more tape and a little bit more study, and I think we'd be able to do it in the second time we see them. I think that we have the better coaching staff. And that's just my opinion. Other than that, I think the rest of them, New England's dangerous. I do think Drake May is pretty dangerous with the ball. He's very high IQ throwing the ball. So offensively, I'm worried about that. But I'm not worried about their offense. I think that'd be their defense. I'm thinking that'd be one of those games where, we go out there and we see a Chicago versus 49ers game where nobody's really stopping anybody on the other side. But I think the biggest one I want to see is Jacksonville again, because I'm a little bit heard about that one. And then I don't want to see the Texans. I just don't want to see the Texans.
All right. Guys, we're about to get into our final thoughts here and close it out for another Tuesday evening. But before we do that, just want to say thanks again. Thanks for watching. Thanks for commenting. Thanks for sharing. Thanks for asking your questions. We do this because we love talking to you about football. We love answering your questions. We love just talking Broncos football with you. And we have loved it so much that we have been here for 10 years. So we are going to probably be here for another 10 years. And okay, hold on. I shouldn't have committed myself to that because I'm already feeling old and tired as hell. And I'll be 46 in 10 years, but that's neither here nor there. Ayla, I am going to throw final thoughts to you. Anything you want, but I would focus maybe you've got something to say. Go.
It's funny that you say throw because I want to trust Bo. And in the words of Ludacris, I want to throw them bows.
Throw them bows.
I want to let him send it. I want to let him play his little bit of college ball. I want to let our receivers catch it. Cortland, son, it's like I just want to score a lot more points than we ever have. And I don't want to depend. I mean, I want to depend on our defense to a very certain extent, but I want him to shine, and I want it to let it happen. So throw them bows.
Throw them bows. Spotty, throwing it over to you.
You kind of have to laugh the fact that we're sitting here talking about AFC West championships, number 1 seeds, considering that Russell Wilson is still a giant bag of money sitting on top of this freaking team.
It doesn't matter.
And we were talking rebuilding. What the hell? We were talking rebuilding. And we rebuilt for all of a year and a half. And now we're talking about incredible playoff and Super Bowl contending aspirations. It feels really good. This is exactly where as a Broncos nation really wants to be. Like we are used to this. I mean, look, all the times that Mr. B was the owner, we had this many Super Bowls as we had losing seasons, and then we saw a decade of some of the most horrendous football, and we were all mad about it. And of course, we were always one quarterback away, and this is where we wanted to be all of those years. And all it took was Sean Payton, which, depending on how the rest of this year goes, I might have to back some of my comments about him a little bit.
Yeah, we're going to have to talk about whether he was worth that first round pick, Spotty.
I'm still holding on to that. Okay, just for now. He has not accomplished anything to me at this point. All right. So,
you're wrong. Okay, go ahead.
You don't even have enough time for that. So I'm excited for this game. I'm excited to see exactly what's going to happen in this playoffs. As everyone says, the AFC is wide open right now, and I believe it's the time to make our mark.
Good enough. He hasn't done anything, and he might be getting us the number 1 seed in his second year with the quarterback that he drafted.
Dude, Mike Vrabel got the number 1 seed with Ryan Tannehill at the Tennessee Titans and proceeded to lose first round. So do not talk to me about making number 1 seeds. I'll give you plenty of options, plenty of things that have gone bad after that.
Not everyone could be John Fox. All right, it's not how that works.
Oh boy, I did not think the words John Fox were going to come up in this podcast.
What do you think, David? What do you think?
I did not think the words John Fox were going to come up in this podcast, but we don't have time. Jared, final thoughts. Get it. He can't hear me. Spotty, throw it over to him for final thoughts.
Jared, final thoughts.
Okay, final thoughts to Jared. Yeah, thanks, buddy. Appreciate that. And still, legitimately, I'm blaming the system we're using on this one because I hear everybody but David, and I think my phone in this system does not want me to hear David, and I love every second of it.
He doesn't want to hear me either.
Yeah, I know. I can hear you now. I can hear you and Spotty. Great. Yeah. So final thoughts. Hey, look, we are number one right now until we lose it, and that's the biggest piece for me. And we won the AFC. Like, okay, cool. I think Ayla said it. Like, we did it. We kind of celebrated. Like, cool. We're number one in the AFC West. Like, now let's focus on what we need to do to be able to get and be the number one in the AFC overall. Like, I think that's the big piece here. Being home field advantage is so much more important than I think people really understand. If you have to go through Denver for both of your games in order to get to Super Bowl, it's going to be tough sledding, and I mean that in all of the words. Is this snowing out there? Is there any snow out there right now? No.
We got hit with a little bit of snow recently.
Oh man! All right, I'm out in Chicago. We're getting absolutely destroyed right now. I hope I can catch my flight tomorrow. But yeah, it's going to be tough sledding for anybody who has to go through Denver to get to the Super Bowl, and that is the best way for us to get there. We've lost one game in the past like 20-something games at home. And I think there's a reason for that. And I think that us getting home field advantage in December and into January and February really is going to be the biggest thing for this. And if we can make the Super Bowl and everybody has to come in here to like, there's good people don't want to come here and play us. They don't want to play our defense. They don't want to come to Denver. And that's what pandering a little bit to our audience here, but like that's what Broncos country does. Like making that stadium loud, giving them the advantage. And there's not a lot of teams that you can say that for. That you have to. Oh, I don't want to go to LA. I really don't want. Like their fans are really loud. That's nobody's ever said that. So I think that's the best part about Broncos country and what we do for the team. And that's my final thoughts. And again, appreciate you guys watching.
All right. Well, I got back in time from my technical difficulty to keep Jared from having to close out the show for us. We are all wrapped up tonight, guys. Keep an ear out for the pregame podcast. That'll be coming Thursday or Friday. And I don't think there's anything left to say, guys, but to end the show, as we always do, on a very strong Go Broncos.
Go Broncos.
Right.